What's going on, campers? That's right, it's summer camp season, and it's the Burning versus Sleepaway Camp on Horror Face Off. Hey everybody, welcome to a special summer camp episode of Horror Face Off, and today we have the Burning versus Sleepaway Camp. Two fairly popular camp films. Obviously, the king of camp films is not featured on today's episode, but will be on very many other episodes. We have an awesome panel today, as usual. And before we do that, let's get to the rules.
We take two horror films and match them up against each other. Using specific categories, the show's fearless panelists dissect every bone-chilling detail. In the end, the film that has the most category points wins Horror Face-Off. But the panel needs to think fast, where they only have a limited time to make their case. If they take too long, they will be killed.
Leighanne, are you ready to kill some campers?
I'm here to kill some campers.
That's awesome. Well, then let's meet our campers, and we will start off with John.
Hey everybody, my name is John Popa. I've been on the show plenty of times before. I am on Instagram on John the Popa at Instagram, wherever you do that. But other than that, I'm just a guy that watches a lot of horror movies.
Megan.
Oh gosh. Hi, I'm Megan, and I have terrible public speaking skills. I don't really know what to say about myself.
You
Start
know,
in the beginning. Tell me off.
It actually takes
You model, or you know what? I'm not going to help you.
Gallows Lane, and I should have some new scenes coming in the summer.
All right. Haley, welcome back.
Hello, I am Haley. I'm an actor, very big horror fan, and that is all I have to say.
Rocking the 80s vibe, and I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Take the extra time to show your fashion.
Yeah,
Awesome.
We got the neons and stuff.
Sweet. Uncle Pete, you're up.
You can find me on YouTube as Your Friendly Neighborhood Uncle Pete. I have a series where I talk about the stupid decisions people make in horror movies, why it's so easy for them to die, and you can find me in the last Amity movie streaming right now.
Nice. And welcome back to the show. A guest that we've loved in the past. Formats change. We'll see how she adapts, but welcome back, Emma.
How did I know you were talking about me? Hey everyone, I'm Emma, recovering lawyer turned author. So much happier now, as you can imagine, and lifelong horror fan ever since I was traumatized.
Oh,
traumatized.
You want to hear what
killed? You get killed in your intros.
porn when I shouldn't have been watching it at 8 years old. Ruined me
Okay,
for-
so
yeah.
that's your one get out of jail card free, because Leighanne will not let you finish in the show. But of course we want to know about you, Emma, and we're happy to have you back. You're a favorite. So everybody is familiar with it. Let's get right into camp, and we'll start off with plot. And for this one, we'll start off with Uncle Pete.
I'm going to pick Sleepaway Camp on this one. I think it had a better story, lots more to unpack. Starts off with this tragic accident, and we jump ahead a few years. We meet this Tim and Angela. She doesn't really speak. You got her spunky cousin, Ricky. There's more mystery in the film as far as who the killer is. And, there's a whole lot more going on to unpack. With The Burning, it's a great story, but it's one I've kind of seen before. It's not that we haven't seen. There's way more going on. You got the mystery of the killer, all these evil campers, and Ricky, who's doing the killing? Is it Angela? Is it Ricky? Is it both? I think it's both. And you got the mom in the beginning. What the hell's going on? Everything is just this tight little package. Sleepaway Camp.
All right. I was going to segue with, speaking of tight little packages, but I won't do that. I will throw it to John, though, to cover my ass.
I mean, as long as you take little out, I guess we're okay. But yeah, so I'm gonna agree. A Sleepaway Camp, I think, has a little bit more going on. They're both fundamentally the same. It's a slash movie set at a summer camp, but The Burning has a very basic setup. It's basically an urban legend. There's not anything else going on really beyond that. But Sleepaway Camp, you don't really know what's going on until the very last second, as we all know. And along the way, like I said, there's a lot of strange sort of character interactions. You don't really know who's who and what it all means. So yeah, for the basic plot, Sleepaway Camp definitely tries to have a lot more involved going on.
All right. Haley, you're up.
Okay, so I am also going to go with Sleepaway Camp. Touching on what everyone said, like it is a much more complicated plot, and I think that in terms of the writing, it's definitely much more interesting, and there's a lot more kind of character development, as well as there is so much mystery to it. As we're with The Burning, right away we know who the killer is, we know what's happening. As we're with Sleepaway Camp, you're always kind of a bit like, oh, what's going on, until people mention, until the last second you're like, oh shit, that's what this is. So Sleepaway Camp.
Okay. Megan, welcome back to the show. You're up.
I also have to say Sleepaway Camp because I'm always good for like a good like psychological thriller, and it ultimately kind of is one once you get to the end. And I felt like The Burning was like a typical slasher plotline. It was normal. It didn't stand out.
Nothing wrong with typical. But anyways, Emma, do you think you got the hang of it?
I think so. I'm also going, I mean, to me, Uncle Pete said it best. Everything he said, bang on, definitely Sleepaway Camp for me. The new, just to add to what people have said, a lot more nuance, a lot more thematic depth. And to me, The Burning, much as I love certain parts of it, will always be a subpar Friday the 13th.
All right, so The Burning is really behind it early on. I'm going to give a shout out to typical storylines. There's nothing wrong with typical. Sometimes you go too much for a storyline. Good plot doesn't mean complex, but I'm not arguing with what you're saying. But anyways, I feel like I got a vibe with sunglasses on today. I don't know, it's weird. All right, so
can I throw in?
No.
Oh, come on.
Okay, we'll let you. Yes, we've done this before. Yes.
All right, so the other issue with The Burning, which I'm not sure how you guys feel about this, but Todd, at the end, when he's with Cropsey, burning Cropsey in that abandoned, whatever, concrete bunker thing, wherever the hell they are, it's never really clear, is it the old camp? Is it somewhere else? It's like he suddenly remembers, oh yeah, 5 years ago, like I helped burn this guy to death. Like it makes no sense. Right? Like, I don't know if you guys caught that, but I rewatched it last night.
I wasn't sure if he was the same person that was there 5 years ago.
I'm gonna end this discussion because there'll be plenty of time for you to say it. This is cheating on your 40 seconds here.
Okay.
But it's okay. We'll let it go. We've answered Mia's questions before. It would be rude to not. But it is a good point. It is a very good point. I'm sure you'll be able to get to that again soon. Okay. But we are going to move on to setting, and for this, we are going to start off with Emma, who has come to talk. So, love it.
Okay, I am a bit of a talker, so I'll try to keep it in check. Frankly, I was underwhelmed by both settings in each movie. I didn't find them; they were sort of like your classical summer camp, but I never got a real sense of foreboding, of atmosphere. You know, unlike, for example, on Friday the 13th, the lake, the fact that there's tragedy at the lake itself felt like the setting, but I never got a strong sense of place from either of the camps, personally. So if I had to pick, I'm going to pick The Burning just because there was a bit more...
Kill! I technically let you go over a second because I was like, I need to get the answer from her.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So we're going to go to Haley.
So I'm going to go with Sleepaway Camp. I do really like how Camp Arawak is. I do think that the buildings itself, like the cabins, are much more summer camp-y than in The Burning, because one of them, it looks like an actual house. That's the one that's across from the showers and stuff. It's like, that's a pretty nice summer camp situation. So I think Sleepaway Camp, it is more true summer camp, and the water and kind of all that stuff, I do think that it's a bit nicer. So,
all right, a bit nicer. All right, Megan.
All right. I'm also going to go with Sleepaway Camp because it gave me more of a summer camp vibe, and it felt like there was real kids. Where in The Burning, I had a hard time telling who was the adult in the situation and who was the kids. And there was more like activities happening that made that feel that you were actually at the summer camp versus The Burning. A lot of woods.
All right, John.
I actually would give this to The Burning. I think they both were filmed at actual summer camps, so in that regard, they're pretty similar. But I think The Burning feels a little more lived in as a setting, whereas I think the Sleepaway Camp, it feels more staged as a setting. Like, it just feels like they're going to these places specifically to shoot movie scenes. Whereas The Burning, a lot of it just feels like they're kind of filming a camp in action and just kind of catching what's happening. So it's a little more natural, I think, and so that's why I think I give the edge to The Burning.
All right. Uncle Pete.
I am siding with The Burning. Both are our camps, obviously, but Camp Blackfoot, I think, looked a little bit better. Sleepaway Camp, Camp Arawak was all one setting, and I wrote down in my notes, but similar with me, I wrote down what the prostitute was killed in the beginning. That seedy, dirty part of New York, it's a great way to take you out of this nice, clean camp, and it kind of makes you feel dirty and grimy, and it blends so well. And even at the end when Cropsey was killed, in that little tunnel bunker area, it was someplace outside of the norm of the camp, and I love that big open lake when they're on the canoes, just paddling, having fun, splashing. I'm like, okay, which camp would I rather go to? I would feel way more camp Burning.
Nice. So seedy and grimy does it for Uncle Pete. I like it. We have another question. This never happens. We got 2 in one episode. Okay, yes, Megan.
It's not a question, but also I like that they had like the hospital scene too in The Burning. Let me put a little love towards The Burning. Like, there was a little bit more scenery going on there. I didn't think about that. I still stick with my answer, but...
Can we kill her anyway, though, Leighanne, for that extra...
Yeah, I'm just gonna... We're done with opinions now. You guys are all dying.
Okay. But I appreciate you giving love. But, yeah, all right, cool. We'll move on. I do got to say, I like The Burning Camp. I felt like I wanted to be there. I never got that with Sleepaway. Sometimes it's just the color palette. I don't know. All right, so we'll move on to filmmaking, and just a reminder, in this category is where you will incorporate direction, cinematography, music, and all that jazz. So it's all in one category, and for this we will start off with Haley.
Okay, so I am going to give it to the Sleepaway Camp. First off, I'd like to say that Sleepaway Camp looks much higher quality, even though they're only 2 years different. So it's not that, camera quality really improved that much in that time. As well as, with the writing and those sorts of elements, I think that that's much higher quality. Although I do love the campiness of The Burning and some of the red screens that they do just like randomly after kill. I'm like, that's a choice, but I will say Sleepaway Camp it is.
All right, Uncle Pete, you're up.
I'm siding with The Burning. I love the cinematography in this movie. I think it was shot beautiful. When everybody's in the canoe splashing around, it looked like a lot of fun. And then the one raft scene, Cropsey jumps up, silhouette with those hedge clippers, and you hit that score. I'm like, yes, I recognize that score from The Burning. I don't really recognize the score from Sleepaway Camp. I couldn't hum it, but The Burning, I got it in my head. I think The Burning had more memorable shots. The beginning when Cropsey is burned, that's a great stunt. Him, burning and jumping into the lake and everything. It's just Tom Savini. It just built more tension and anxiety when he was on fire. It was just, it was just a tighter movie as far as pacing and the way everything.
All right. Oh, my innuendos. I was gonna no. We're gonna go on to Megan. Yeah, no, okay, Megan, you're up.
I'm gonna die on this one. I can tell you right now. Okay, so there's a few things that really bothered me when it came to The Burning, and I will die on my hill. But first of all, the cinematography, there were certain elements that I liked about it, like the blurring through his point of view when he's walking and stuff. And you're like, okay, you're seeing things kind of through his eyes. I like that they gave the little flashback scenes and stuff at the end. But there were so many things that didn't make sense that drove me crazy. Like when she's swimming out to the raft and she's going to check on the people that are dead, and she like pulls the arm off, and you're like, oh my god. But the guy, no,
Nope,
I told
you're
you I
done.
was gonna die on this one. But his body pops up like a buoy out
No,
of the
you
water.
can't. Dead people don't speak. Dead people don't speak. You just give answers, and then you're done.
I like it.
So what was
Megan's
your
passion.
answer?
Megan's
I
more
was very
passionate when she
passionate.
says.
I was worked up about a few things in that cinematography. Ugh.
See if you could see if you could squeeze it into other categories. So I'm assuming you got the answer though, Leighanne, right?
No, I did not.
No. Well, I'm deducing.
Sleepaway
But...
Camp.
Okay. All right, John.
Yeah, I'm definitely giving this one to The Burning. It has some pacing issues. Like I think like the first 45 minutes are really slow, but it just seems like fundamentally competently made. And I just think a lot of Sleepaway Camp is just like weirdly bad and doesn't really make any sense. And like if you look at the screenplay objectively, I don't think anybody would say this is our script. This is what we're doing. It almost becomes a weird art form of its own weird badness in and of itself, and that's what kind of makes it charming. But I think The Burning is just like fundamentally competent, even though it's a little slow. I had to give it credit just for being like much more functional as a movie.
Ooh, must have been close.
38.
38?
38.
Oh, but well said, as usual. And to finish off the round, it's Emma.
Okay, I'm gonna try not to die this time. Again, I feel like Uncle Pete and we have like a connection. Everything you're saying, totally agree. Even though I don't love The Burning overall as a movie, the one thing that drove me crazy about Sleepaway Camp is that half the time it felt like they were on a stage doing a play, angled towards the camera, sort of posing. I just kept feeling like I was watching a stage production, which annoyed me. If it wasn't for the twist ending in Sleepaway Camp, the twist ending for me makes the movie. So stepping apart from that, also the one kill I love so much is that raft scene. You just think it's going to be the body hidden in the canoe, and then oh no, really?
Yep.
Shit.
Yes, really.
And then he comes up and
Speaking
he's
about kills. Nope. Dead people don't speak.
I'm stopping.
Dead people do not speak.
I'm staying out of this.
We have lots to say about this.
But well said. Everybody said I love it. It was kind of a split panel on that one, so that's always more fun.
What was your answer on that, though, Emma?
My answer is Burning.
Okay.
Even though I love the twist ending of Sleepaway Camp. Okay.
No opinions when you're dead.
There's an ending category, Emma.
I just have to say it, Jason. It's my first time with the new format. Give me a break.
This will be a new thing in this episode, Leighanne. You might actually kill someone twice in the same category. I don't think that's ever happened before.
I just start slashing away.
Oh, so harsh.
All right. I know. For a while, no one was getting killed. I'm like, you know what? I think this show's got to go down to 30 seconds. But anyways, okay. No, I knew me. I was going to react to that. You're out of character for the first time tonight. Okay. Speaking of character, we're going to move on to characters, and this should be a shit show. So we'll start off with John.
This one, I'm also going to give it to The Burning. I think the characters in the Sleepaway Camp, again, it's really cartoony and sort of silly. Again, it's very bad dialogue being delivered, and they're all very much obvious sort of camp cliches of the mean girls and the weird kids, and it's just very sort of overdone and sort of campy, for lack of a better term. The Burning, it doesn't really focus on characters specifically, but there's a feeling of it's just kids goofing around, like I said earlier, and they're just kind of capturing that. And I think with the actors have a little bit more chemistry together because they're not kind of hampered by that terrible dialogue like in Sleepaway Camp.
Okay, Megan.
I don't know. Let me work this one out and I'll die again. Okay, so I think the acting is much better in The Burning. Like what everybody was saying, it's very Broadway theater type in Sleepaway Camp. But I think there's more... What's the word I'm looking for? There's just more with the characters going on. Because you have those different cliques and things. And with The Burning, they're just kind of there. Not really serving much of a purpose. So... Sleepaway Camp. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. All right. So is that it? Sleepaway Camp?
Yeah. I'm trying to find more things to say, but I think having the flu.
No, you can't say anything else. You will die. We'll die.
Oh, okay, we're done.
I'm dying
You-
today.
All right. This, you know what? You guys are bad campers. You guys are behaving like bad campers tonight. You're all disobedient and all right. Okay. It's okay. Haley, you're up.
Okay, confidently, Sleepaway Camp. I love bad dialogue. That's my shit. Okay. First off, Ricky is so sassy when they're like, "Eat shit and die," Ricky, and he goes, "Eat shit and live, Bill." That is so good. Like, are you kidding me? Also, shout out to the aunt who's always like, and it's so bad, but I'm like, girl, you do it. But I will say, George Costanza, he has some good lines in The Burning when they're like, what are we supposed to be looking for? And he goes, your mother. And like, these are all good lines. But Sleepaway is the one.
Kill!
All right, we got to kill. And that was the most dynamic we've seen, Haley. So these movies are bringing it out of you. That was awesome. Great job. Great quotes. And we will move on to Emma. This should be interesting.
I'm going to try not to die this time for real. 100% characters are better in Sleepaway Camp. Each of the characters actually wants something as opposed to The Burning. They're just kind of fucking around the whole time. But in Sleepaway Camp, each character, even Judy, who wants to just be a bitch and sleep with as many guys as possible, at least that's a goal. At least that's a motivation. And Angela, for me, and even Angela and Ricky, their relationship, the way they interact, he's sticking up for her. There's real emotion there, real feeling, and real relationships. So 100% Sleepaway Camp.
I admired you.
I didn't die. Yes. That's great.
No,
didn't
you
die.
didn't.
You were close.
Good job. Good job, but we like it. Death is okay. At least you get it out, right? So nothing worse than, stopping early and then watching someone else say the point that you were going to say. There probably is things worse than that. But anyways, Uncle Pete, you're up.
I'm giving it to Sleepaway Camp. Now, we'll say in The Burning, I love Fisher Stevens and Jason Alexander. Best characters in the movie. But Sleepaway Camp has characters. Judy is such a bitch, she wears a shirt with her name on it. Angela, Tim and quiet. When she smiles and speaks, you smile. The bullies are over the top, but not comical, unlike Glazer. I'm going to bust you in the head. And then Ricky's so full of energy, and Haley, I'm going to repeat what she said. Eat shit and die, Ricky. And so deadpan, eat shit and live, Bill. And then the mom, oh my. Sleepaway Camp has characters. That's why I got to pick it.
All right, that's the round, and we did something special in this round, people. We made these films sound like they were written by Quentin Tarantino. We were praising lines like they came out of Pulp Fiction, and that alone is impressive. So the campers are rebuilding their credit on this show. All right, we will move on to a fun one. This should be a fun one for this episode, and that is kills. And for this one, we'll start off with Emma for that.
God bless Canada, as well as America. I have an American sister-in-law, so...
That's so Canadian.
I know, it is. Shit. Okay. Kills, 100% Sleepaway Camp. I love the kills. They're so creative, so inventive. The curling iron, a little bit much. I could have done without the curling iron, personally. Everything else was great. I mean, it was still creative. When the guy's on the toilet and Angela puts the wasp's nest in, and then you see a close-up of his arm and his face covered in bees. I mean, that just did it for me. So I just like Mia, I got bored of the garden shears for one or two.
Kill! Nope.
Okay, I will say this. I mean, it was 81. I don't think garden shears were used in that many movies before this for you guys to be so bored of them all of a sudden. But fair enough.
I know.
All right. Okay, John.
I'm giving this to The Burning. I think the kills in The Burning, you just kind of feel them. They hurt. Like they're pretty brutal and vicious. Those garden shears. The shots that Savini used, he really shows the impact of the blades on people and the bodies kind of getting pulled apart. Sleepaway Camp they're cool and they're corny, and the whole movie's a little bit over the top, so the kills are too. But I like The Burnings because again, they just feel like they hurt, and they're a little more gruesome and intense, and they don't kind of make you giggle a little bit. They're more, like I said, they're much more intense and grotesque.
All right. Megan.
Hmm. I want to give it to the burning because of the fact that I'm always good for a good gory kill. But I personally didn't like the massacre on the canoes. I thought it was kind of choppy. I was like, where the heck he just come from? Did he come from that canoe? He just like, and then everyone's just there. Whether they just standing there waiting to die? And I feel like Sleepaway Camp, it was more suspenseful. And they kind of contributed to the overall theme. And I also agree, I like the Shears concept, but it wasn't as creative in the grand scheme of things.
Kill!
Oh,
Come on, it was right on it. It was
No,
right
you're dead.
on the money.
you're dead, but you
Still
brought
dead.
you brought good points there. There were some valid points there. Uncle Pete, you're up.
Sleepaway Camp. I think the kills were more inventive from the start. The boat, as it kills the dad and the son right away, and then now, granted, Artie doesn't die, but that boiling water all over him. Granted, he deserved it. I'm going to consider him dead anyways. Mel shot through the throat. Meg stabbed in the back, and the knife is pulled all the way down when she's in the shower stall. You feel it. The kill with the bees. Cue the Nicolas Cage, not the bees clip. And then, but granted, he could have got it there way easy. And then Judy, the curling iron, God bless America. It's nothing I want anybody ever to experience. All the kills were inventive. In the burning, it was almost all in the same manner. Shears or scissors. Yeah, Sleepaway Camp was cool.
All right. Nice job. Have you done a show on either of these
I've covered
movies?
both of them, yep.
You have covered them? Okay, so go watch them, people. All right, to finish off the kill round, we're going to Haley.
Okay, so I'm also gonna go with Sleepaway Camp. As everyone has mentioned, they are much more inventive. As where I do think it is interesting the Shears, because like I've never seen Shears in another movie. But when you're using the same kind of instrument, if you will, it becomes a little less interesting and doesn't really keep you on your toes. As whereas John had mentioned, I will say that the burning does have like much more kind of random, like, oh shit, like why did this happen sort of kills that they like affect you more. As we're in the Sleepaway Camp, you're like, good, like this should have happened, but so for that reason I do like. Okay, yep, for sure.
For sure dead.
Yeah,
It's okay. It's a party in the afterlife right now.
yeah.
Let me ask the panelists. Have you ever, for all those that are like hating on the garden shears, which aren't in very many films, have you ever said, Jason again with the freaking machete? No.
If I had to compare Friday the 13th Part 2 due to burning, I'm still going to prefer, to Sleepaway Camp. I think Sleepaway Camp has more fun kills than just a repetitive machete.
Fair enough. I'm just trying to talk, Uncle Pete. All right, so we are going to do something that we have never done on this show before. We're going to take a little bit of an intermission, and it's because it's camp. We know camp counselors have the attention spans of, well, not very good attention spans. So we're going to kind of rejuvenate things, and I'm going to just go around the table. I'm just going to say, do you like s'mores or not? And that's it. This is the intermission. So, Uncle Pete, you a s'mores fan?
1,000% yes.
Emma.
Absolutely love them.
John.
I like s'more flavored things, but I've never successfully made one.
Megan.
You never successfully made one?
No, something gets burned.
John will have to fix that for you, but yes, love them. Love them to pieces. It's an art form, if you will.
All right. And Haley?
Actually, no. I like them all individually, but once you make it the sandwich situation, it's messy. I don't like that. But all on its own, that's fine.
All right.
It's messy like my life.
Only if the marshmallows are burnt. If they're too gooey, then I don't like it.
Oh, okay, the marshmallow burnt. I like burnt marshmallow. I thought you meant like the cookie part thing burnt. I was like, that's kind of gross. But and Haley, I side with you. It's all individually okay, but it's a bit much. But anyways,
You need to bring back s'mores flavored Oreos. They only bring that back like once or twice. They need to bring those back.
all right, you heard it here on Horror Face Off. Whoa, the guitar went off here. All right. We're back to the show, and it is The Burning, ouch, versus Sleepaway Camp, and we're gonna go to Scare Factor. And for this one, we are gonna start off with Megan, because you look scared.
Well, I'm thinking I really should have made some notes before this filming, but I was on a time crunch. And so, God, guys, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the burning for this one. You gotta give it a little love. It took a while to get to certain kills, I guess, and I was just like, is it gonna happen? Are you getting stabbed? Who's getting stabbed here? Someone's getting stabbed. I'm gonna give it some love. There you go.
So Bernie.
Sure. Yes.
All right. And I'm sorry we only gave you 5 weeks to prep for the show. We'll fix that next time. All right, Emma, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna go with the burning because for one reason, and that's because Cropsy is clearly a sadistic motherfucker, pardon my French, and nobody is safe. Okay, you could be the nicest, sweetest person. There's no moralizing. He just kills for fun. He kills for pure revenge. In Sleepaway Camp, as long as you're a nice, good person and you don't piss off Angela, you're gonna make it. And so from a pure fear perspective, the burning for sure for me has a bigger scare factor.
Great perspective. Okay, Haley.
So I'm gonna go with the burning. Yeah, as Emma had just mentioned, yeah, like no one's safe. So like that is so much scarier. And also I find that there's a lot more jump scares in the burning. And for me being a nervous gal, as you probably can tell, the burning like that, just that kind of scare always gets me. As well as there's a lot more kind of looming and using kind of the darkness. So I will say that is scarier though. Do love Sleepaway Camp, just not so scary. More of a camp good time.
All right, Uncle Pete.
Also picking the burning, great, because there's nobody is safe. It's already been mentioned. He's just killing everybody. He didn't just go after the guys who burnt him. He went after everybody, innocent people who never bothered anybody. You leave Angela alone, she's not going to bully you. But if you go, hey, Angela, how come you so effed up? Yeah, Angela's going to come after you. I'm not a bully, so I wouldn't have done that to her. So I'm like, I would have been good. Angela's going to leave me alone. Cool. But yeah, with Cropsy, he looks scary. If you see that, you're gonna shit your pants. I'm sorry. And especially if he's chasing you with those garden shears, he looks scary. He's intimidating. Yeah, burning is way more scary.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm also going to give it to the burning. Again, there's just an intensity to the burning that Sleepaway Camp just does not have. Like Sleepaway Camp is just sort of absurd to me the whole time, so it never became frightening. The burning is sort of real and gritty and intense as it turns once you get into the actual kills. So in terms of the burning, definitely to me is much more scary than Sleepaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp is just weird and bizarre.
So we are in the back half of the match, and for this we're going to start off. Well, we're going to go to antagonist, excuse me, and for this we're going to start off with Uncle Pete.
Sleepaway Camp, only because I think Angela was more of an interesting character. You know she was really doing it. Like I said, it could have been Angela, it could have been Ricky, it could have been both. But Angela had more of I don't want to say she had more of a tragic backstory because she wasn't burnt horribly, but I just think I found Angela more interesting. You know, Cropsy was just kind of one-dimensional, got burned because of a prank that went awry, and he wants to get revenge on everybody because he's all effed up in the face. Kind of one-dimensional, but Angela, her and Ricky had more going on as far as why they're killing. They're killing for revenge. I can get behind that more when you're killing for revenge, vice when you're killing just because you want to.
All right.
I'd have to agree with everyone who's said Sleepaway Camp or Angela for this one. I think Angela is such a fascinating character, so tragic. And in fact, if I had to pick the real antagonist in that movie, I would say it's Aunt Martha, who's clearly fucked up her poor nephew by raising him and making him be someone he's not, which is an interesting parable, but I know that's not on the list of categories. But yeah, I just think it's super powerful. It shows how trauma can fuck people up and lead to horrible, devastating results. So 100% Angela in Sleepaway Camp.
Okay. Haley.
So I'm also going to go with Sleepaway Camp. I love Felissa Rose. I think she is such an icon, and I think it is such a fun role for her. Yeah, there just is so much more depth and layers to it. And you're kind of you really understand it more at the end when you see all these things that she's experienced in her lifetime, as where in the burning, like as Mia had mentioned, like we don't know what he was like before. We can assume that he might have been this tough janitorial guy and that's why the kids didn't like him or something, but we don't really know why this is happening. As where you feel for Angela. Okay, yep.
I love how you accept it. John.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give this one to Angela too. In Sleepaway Camp, I like Cropsy. I just think he's a little underutilized in the movie. Like they never really get to him and really get into him. Like by the time he starts killing people, that's all he does, and they never really delve into him or really even show us him a lot, even as the movie's going on. So I think, obviously the reveal of Angela is a lot more detailed and a lot more involved. So I think I'll give it to her. But Cropsy is a pretty unsettling looking character. I just wish the movie would have played into that more and made him a bigger part of it.
Okay. And to finish off the round, Megan.
Okay. So I definitely have to give it to Angela also because I love a good backstory. And I think both films would really do well with a prequel. I think there is a scene, though, in The Burning where they do give a little bit of a backstory to Cropsy, that he is this, like, drunk and, like, mean keeper of the camp, but it's not enough to catch me. So, Sleepaway.
Sleepaway. All right.
Didn't give me this time, Leanne.
I'll get you again. I'll get you again.
Probably.
It's getting personal. All right. Okay. So for the next round, it's a specialty category for this episode. It is camp. And which camp does it for you? Which camp would you rather go to? Which camp was a better setting? Well, we covered setting, but like overall, what gives you the better camp experience? And for this, we will start off with Megan.
I don't want to go to either camp. People are dying. They got bad Yelp reviews. But probably Sleepaway Camp because it just seems like they've got more things going on. They've got a social where people are getting together to, eat, be merry. They've got swimming. Like, I don't know. There just seems like there's more stuff to do than just kind of messing around in the woods and going in a canoe.
All right. John.
I would give this to The Burning. If I were a horny teenage boy, I'd rather be hanging around the camp at The Burning. It seems to be like a better party. And I wouldn't want to live in a world where I have to deliver Sleepaway Camp dialogue. So in that regard, I will stick to the camp of The Burning and take my chances.
All right. This coming from the horny middle-aged man.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Emma, you're up.
I'm also going to go with The Burning because I feel like at Sleepaway Camp, I would literally be faced with disgusting, perverted, pedophile cooks and heads of the camp who want to cover up the murders and counselors who bully. And I'm going to go with The Burning. I'll take my chances with the horny 16-year-olds. Like as a not now, like as a camper there. That did not come out the way I intended it. As a camper, I would prefer to attend the burning camp. I'm done.
Nice. That was good. Okay, Haley.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Sleepaway Camp. I do, besides the obvious problems that it has with, the staff who are very questionable, all of them. You see a lot more of the activities that they do. You got so many good baseball scenes. They're having a good time. They show the archery. They show the different kind of water sports. So you see more that's going on, and they got a fun little social dance. And they've got the canoe trips, and then the counselors seem to have a lot of fun together. So I just think that looks like more of a fun time.
Okay, Uncle Pete.
I'd rather go to Camp Blackfoot in The Burning. It just seems like more fun camp. I hate bringing up the canoes on that big river. It just seems a lot more fun. Sleepaway camp, yuck. Because the burning, you have no Mel, no Artie. You don't have belly shirts. I don't know how that was ever a thing. So, and there's less Ronnie in his short shorts in the burning. It just, yeah, it seems like a lot more of a fun place to go. Camp Arawak, I feel the anxiety just builds when I'm there because it just doesn't feel safe. Camp Blackfoot just seems like a whole lot more fun, more stuff going on, less creepy camp counselors. Burning.
Okay, that brings to a close that round, and along with being rambunctious, we now know these panelists are horny. So we will go to the second last category of the match, and it is posters. Did you shake your head and say no, Haley?
I said the power of Christ compels you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Gotcha. Okay, for posters. So for this one, we are going to start off with John.
I give this one to The Burning. Again, it's kind of a retro sort of 70s poster. I like the sort of backlit image of the shears and the sort of weirdly lurid couple making out in the front of it. Sleepaway Camp, I like the shoe and the knife going through it, but I like The Burning's more details, got more going on. It'd be more intriguing if I were, scanning the aisles of the video store, as they say.
I'm just going to interject for a second because it doesn't really affect the voting, but like for a little known film like The Burning, have you ever seen more movie posters? It has like a ton of movie posters over the years. Anyways, we'll go next to Uncle Pete.
I'm also going to take The Burning. You got the couple necking in the water. You got the silhouette person holding shears. It's lit really well. I think that poster elicits more fear for somebody like, who is this guy? Why is he killing? Sleepaway Camp, I do like, but one thing that always throws me off is that they start writing that letter to home at top, but I feel that's never followed up on. Like, you never see anybody writing a letter. When I see that poster, that's kind of what I was expecting. It was never followed up on. The Burning, you get the couple. The Burning tells you you're not safe. If you think you're going to get some hanky-panky with an attractive girl, nope, you're not safe. Or an attractive guy. But because someone with shears is most likely going to kill you in the water when you're trying to get some.
Finally.
Yeah, you had a little bit of a lull there for a while. You were going pretty strong.
These rambunctious teens have calmed down.
I know. It was that damn intermission. I cooled them off. I shouldn't have done that. All right.
Sex, so I just kept going.
All right, Haley, you're up.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Sleepaway Camp, and I will start from the top down. So I do actually really like the note, because if you really read it, it says, talks about, I'm getting really scared, and you're like, ooh, okay, which I'd never really read that before. I just had seen that it was a note. You have the running shoe with water dripping on it, so kind of foreshadowing to the drowning kill, as well as, the knife with the blood on it, and then the letters itself are actually like pieces of wood with blood dripping. So I just think there's a lot of kind of fun elements to it. As we're with The Burning, there are so many different options, and I was like, I don't really know which one. Okay, yep.
I like this. Like this death. It's just
I knew that kill was coming. Like, sometimes you could just see it coming a mile away, and I was just kind of focusing on Leighanne, and you're fast. Like, your arm speed was pretty impressive. I just never noticed it before.
Well,
don't do that.
Like a horny teenager.
That was worth
you died
it.
for that one.
No, I'll take the death on that one. I'll take it 20 times. All right, Emma.
All right.
Poster.
This is the one category where I had a really hard time deciding. For all the reasons Uncle Pete said, I mean, the Burning poster is fantastic. I love it. It's super I was going to say late 70s, early 80s. But Sleepaway Camp, for me, is the winner. It has a special place in my heart because I singularly remember being at the video store, and then there was a little horror section, and I snuck into it. You weren't allowed to go into it if you were, I think it might have been under 16 or something. And I remember seeing, here's the DVD here, my copy, and this terrified me. And I read, and on the back, it doesn't have it here, but it says, I think the letter finishes, I think you hear someone coming up behind me.
Nope, nothing. Nope. That's not how that works. You're gonna double die. You're gonna get 2 deaths on you for
Double
that one.
death. But props to you on that one, Emma, because that was definitely a VHS video store like iconic
Like, I need to
cover,
see this movie,
100%.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And to finish off the round, we have Megan.
I kind of struggled because I wasn't really sure what poster to look at because there's just so many variations. But I'm going to go with The Burning. I think that it's just got a creepy vibe. People just minding their own P's and Q's, doing their thing, but you never know what's lurking. Like Leighanne, who needs her own poster.
I might not kill you for that. I might stop killing.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
The last round you were throwing trash talk to her, and now you're telling her she needs to be on a poster.
But she's buttering me up and it's working.
Photo editing skills here.
I know. Leighanne put down the knife. She's like, oh. For the first time. You disarmed her. There you go. Smart. Very tactical, Megan. Very tactical. Not bad. All right. So, you know what movie won't probably be on this show, but has an awesome 70s, because you guys were talking about the 70s, but was Grizzly. We move on to the final round, and it has been... Oh,
No,
did you have your hand up,
Can
Emma?
you do a future round with Cheerleader Camp? I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's awesome. Okay. Great.
Yes, we'll do... We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so we're off to the final round, and we'll start off with Megan.
The ending?
Ending.
I gotta give it to Sleepaway Camp because it just ties the whole movie together and the motive really behind it. Like, it's just too well done, minus the face at the end that throws it off and the animal-like sounds. But the twist itself ties all of why together. So I gotta give it to Sleepaway Camp.
All right. Emma.
I agree with Megan. Definitely Sleepaway Camp. The twist, everything tying together so seamlessly, and it just ends. There's no, she gets arrested. There's nothing. It's just freezing up on her face, this uncanny, disturbing face and sound. So effective. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, my issue with the end of The Burning is that my impression is that Todd was one of the guys who played the prank on Cropsy, and it's like he suddenly remembers that he did this, and maybe it's Cropsy, and yet he's the one halfway through the movie who tells him about the Cropsy legend. Like, it just makes no sense, and that really bugged me. So definitely Sleepaway Camp.
All right. Uncle Pete.
Probably the easiest category for me to answer here. Sleepaway Camp. I was lucky not to have this spoiled when I rented it on VHS. I thought I was renting Summer Camp Nightmare with Chuck Connors, but I was renting Sleepaway Camp. So I watched it, loved it, and it's more than just the twist. You got Angela holding Paul's head. You see her cashing prizes. You got that guttural sound, and it just freezes on that. And it's a Burning had typical slasher ending. I put the ending of Sleepaway Camp up there, like with The Mist and Old Boy. Like, holy shit, what did I just see? That messes you up.
All right. What a way to end. All right, Haley, you're up.
Okay, so I'm also going to go with Sleepaway Camp. I think it is such a good reveal. A fun fact, so the body double in that last scene, that's his first and only credit that he ever did, and he actually was drunk when filming it, which this would totally not be allowed nowadays. As well as the hands that you see in Sleepaway Camp, that's a different person because her mother didn't want her to be doing killing because she was so young. So I just think that's really interesting because it throws you off. You're like, who is it? Because the hands don't really match hers. And then I just love the...
Kill!
Okay.
No.
Oh, that's a cliffhanger. Holy crap. But rules are rules, and gotta lead by example with my campers here. All right, so we will go to John.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty obvious. It has to be Sleepaway Camp. I think my issue with the end of The Burning is it's like Uncle Pete said, it's just your standard slasher ending. They kill the bad guy, but like you don't really know who the protagonist was up until that point. You're like, oh, this is who we're actually rooting for, and it's the weird, creepy guy who was looking in the shower. Like we've come to this. So yeah, so I definitely, I mean, obviously for all the reasons everybody's been talking about for 30 years, why Sleepaway Camp has one of the most historically, relevant endings in horror movies. You got to go with Sleepaway Camp here.
All right. That's the show. So I'm going to chime in on the endings. Obviously, I'm beating a dead horse here with Sleepaway Camp, but it was so well done that I wonder if it was intentional. It was just so creepy and it was so messed up. But I love The Burning, but the ending literally looks like they ran out of money. It if you watch the ending of The Burning and it's choppy and it's like it doesn't even look like the full aspect ratio was used in the camera, it really looks like they ran out of money and they didn't know what to do, and it's such a shame because I think that it could have been.
We don't care what you think, Jason.
I had no ending, that's why I ramble on all the time, so that was perfect. All right, so that's the end of this. Leighanne is going to. It looks like she's ready to go, but I'm going to return to something that I've stopped doing for a couple of shows, but I'm going to bring it back, and I'm going to give the bloody point of the match, the camper that gave a point that I hold in high regard. Honorable mention to you all had great points at one point or another. What was it? Cash and prizes, you said, Uncle Pete? That got me. Yeah, that got you in runner-up position. That was really, really good. Good job. But I'm gonna give this one to John because it was very understated. But when we were talking about filmmaking and you were talking about Sleepaway Camp, and you said it's hard to imagine that they were saying this is our script. This is our script. And I thought that was really, really well done because I do that a lot of times. And when I'm watching a movie and it's really bad, I'm like, how could they have said at one point or another? How can a group of people said, "Yep, this is the one. We're going with it." So that really rang home. So congratulations for that honor. And anybody else? I don't want to be rude.
Well, okay, we got
okay. Here we go.
A Canadian tuxedo. This is the worst angle, but you got. There you go. Sorry for that close up, but that's the look.
Do not apologize. I appreciate you participating. That was awesome. Well done,
I'm going to
ladies.
show my mid riff.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Thank you, ladies, for dressing up and rocking this episode. It was a fun episode, and we need to get to the winner. So for that, I'm gonna throw to my slashette here.
Well, I got to say, John, for being the teenage pervert, you are also a final guy. Usually they die, but you made it, so that's something to write home about. But this one, we're trying to switch the movie up here, okay? This one was not close at all. This was a landslide with the Sleepaway Camp taking it by far.
Well, I thought The Burning did decent in the middle there, but I think. Well, and even plot, I think everybody started off with plot with Sleepaway. So I think the first and the last categories were complete washes. So that's kind of tough to come back from. But regardless, campers, did you have fun? Well, thanks for coming to camp for this awesome special summer edition of Horror Face Off. I'm Jason. That's Leighanne. These were the panelists. The slumber party. What the hell won? What is it? Sleepaway Camp. So memorable. What a great episode. Sleepaway Camp is your winner, and we'll see you on the next episode. Stay cool, everybody.